Never know. So this is Can Paranormal, Steve, MJ, and me. And we're headed to Bobby Mackey now. We're about maybe 2 minutes, no, not even 2 minutes, 30 seconds from the place. And we just had a walk, not a walk through, but we talked with the caretaker. And she's a wonderful person.
Yeah.
And she told us amazing stuff, you know, MJ. I'm still shocked, actually. More of an idea that how things can be dangerous at Mackey, and how absolutely amazingly active the place is. So we have to be careful tonight. We're treading on very dangerous waters. I know that a lot of people are like, oh, it can all be made up and whatever, but I'm sure that there's so much story. The wall was painted with pictures of people having scratches and all this stuff, and there's something going on, that's for sure. Tonight we're going to be very respectful the way we do things all the time, but we're going to be extra careful tonight because you know, we don't want to provoke, we don't want to taunt. Like I said, we're not going to do any zacking tonight.
No zacking.
No zacking. So the building is right there. You can see the caretaker and our bros from Spike right there. And so I'm very excited. You got the Bobby Mackey sign right there. Yeah. That is it because there was something at...
There was a bunch of stuff. When I do these 2-hour tours, I talk and I tell them, but I'll give you a quick layout real fast.
Okay.
1600s, this was sacred land for the Shawnee and the Cherokee Indians.
Oh my God.
And they would hunt on this side, but they lived over there. They would hunt on this river. Then the army came in during the 1700s, and they started fighting with them. They massacred these Indians, and this was called the River of Blood, and the Indians wouldn't go anywhere near it after that. Then they had a battery, an army battery right here, and the main fort was over the hill where that big giant, the lights are down it that way. So they were fighting the British up here at that time that were trying to take over, 18, 11, 12, 14. After, it was 1811 and 1812, in December and January, we had 3 earthquakes here, all over 7.0s. They flipped that river and changed the course of it. Those fault lines still lay under here. So we got magnetic energy from the river on the other side of the trees, from the railroad tracks through here, from the Omega grid lines up here over the top of us, and then from those earthquake fault lines, we're on a bed of limestone, and that's holding it all. So, like I said, you had the armies, the Indians, all those massacres. There were floods. A lot of people see kids coming over those railroad tracks in rowboats. So we got all kinds of catastrophes from that, not counting what the mobsters did and the people that were shot and knifed in the parking lot and inside here.
When it was before it was a nightclub, before that?
Before, this has been built in several sections. You walk on down here real quick. Everybody knows about the slaughterhouses.
Right. Yeah, my God.
1857 to 1896. After those burned down, across the street was a distillery. In here sat a saloon, the drugstore, and 2 dry grain buildings. That caught on fire in 1907, and all of this burned down. So what's left in the basement are pieces of those old buildings from the drugstore and the saloons and stuff.
Oh my God.
And so a lot of the spirits trapped in this particular part are from that drugstore. So there was a man named Buck Brady who purchased this and what was left in the basement. Then they added on back to the back and turned it into a bowling alley. Then they added this section on in the stage area in the back. It became the Primrose. Then in 47, they added that back short panel on, and that became the Latin Quarter. Then it became a Hard Rock Cafe. Then they put dead bodies in here after Beverly Hills Supper Club caught on fire. The steel mill up the street used it to store their stuff in. There was another battle up here. Jimmy Hoffa, I think was his name, from the Teamsters and stuff. Oh, yeah. There was a battle going on here where they were killing each other, and I have pictures of tanks coming down this road here. So, I mean, there's been all kinds of stuff. Where those steps are there, that telephone pole on the far end, 2 ladies crashed into the tree and died there. They said Johanna brought sheets out for her to wrap them up in. The telephone pole up there has a cross next to it. That was
the one over there?
Yeah, that was a kid about 3 years ago. Crashed into it, about 17 years old, and he died. There was a man in 1987 by the name of Carter, 21 years old, standing in this zone that came here to party, celebrate his birthday, waiting on the cab to come pick him up. Car went out, 15 years old, posing to be 22. She was one of the dancers in here between the late 1930s and early 1940s. Her dad either owned or managed this place, and when she became pregnant by Robert Randall, one of the singers, Dad had him murdered in the basement. Red Masterson, the hitman for the Cleveland Four, would have been the man to do that deed. So I've got a picture in that back room up at the shop that shows a man hanging by his neck in the dressing room that's believed to be Johanna's. We think that's Robert Randall. So after she found her lover dead, she came up here to the upstairs. She knew her father was behind having that done, so she poisoned him, but he didn't die. Then she went up into the little loft up here over the stage area, and that's in the light room. That's where she took poison and killed herself. So we hear her, we see her. There's a lot of stuff that goes on regarding Johanna, and other spirits in here talk about her like they know who she is.
And then Pearl Ryan?
Pearl Bryan may or may not have had anything to do with this club at all. I feel like since there's so much energy here, it's like a gateway, a vortex. A lot of scientists feel the same way. We think if you call somebody out here, you can probably call anybody you want to.
Right.
We have thousands of people that call on these three all the time. Hells did not kill this girl. Called God as my witness. I cast an evil eye upon you. I'll be back to haunt you. Well, the judge died, and then the man of a heart attack within several months after this. The man who drove the wagon out to the farm and dropped them off for the murder, he wound up being stoned to death by a freak hailstorm. And several witnesses and lawyers all died within a certain amount of time. So the locals started saying, I bet you they were part of the satanic occult through head in the well. I bet you blah, blah, blah.
And does it have anything to do with the building here?
No.
Or
No, there was no connection at the time other than this was the dirt pike. This was called Finchtown. They came across the bridge down there and drove past it. Up there where my shop is, that's the road you turn up to go to the farm where they went to.
And the well in the basement is just an active part of the basement?
It was never a well that had water in it. It's just a drain pit that was left over from when these slaughterhouses were here.
Okay.
And then when Buck Brady bought it, he opened it up and used it as a tunnel to take the moonshine barrels through down to the barges.
Because